Good evening. I'm Scott Binsack, and thank you for joining me. Tonight, I'm going to be discussing keeping your circles small and your enemies close. Growing up in the mob. This topic may be shocking for some and not for others. Tonight, I'm going to keep it real. There's going to be no exaggerations in what I tell you to get my point across and what I've learned, of which I'm now going to share with you. A lot of it, I'm going to share bits and pieces with you, and the rest you can see on my new video biography site. But before I begin, again, I have to give you some background. And for those who watch my show every week, please understand that for new viewers, they may not have seen my other shows and thus not know my history. So I'm going to repeat myself in some of these shows in the beginning so that people get the gist. So I apologize, but there's no other way for me to get the story across without doing that. You have to ask yourself these questions. I mean, are your friends really your friends? Who are your enemies? What do you do when you know who your enemies are? In business and in personal life. Every successful person, whether it be in business, in life, in relationships, and whatever, has enemies. You may not know that they are your enemies, but they're there. They are there. And you may think your friends are really your friends, and they're not. And you're hearing this from a man who had many, many alleged friends in his life. But you got to know that when the shit hits the fan, or your life bottoms out, or there's a serious time and you need help, who's going to be there? Who's going to be left standing to be by your side? Serious when you think about it. People you call your friends, who you may break bread with at your table, who you may be in business with as partners. Will they be there for you if, God forbid, anything goes wrong? Or when you're at your worst? You know your enemies will be right there, and they'll be the ones stabbing you in the back. And believe me, they will stab you in the back. In all of this that I'm going to discuss, one thing goes with it: respect. What is respect? Is it earned or is it given? Well, in the mob, in Cosa Nostra, the family, it is earned. It's not just given. Now, to go into some history first about me, and then I will go into some history about the New York mob. I grew up in a town on Long Island, Westbury. It's in Nassau County. There's two counties on Long Island, Nassau and Suffolk. And for a lot of people that don't know New York, Long Island's a big place. My great-grandfather was an Irish funeral director, and he owned a local funeral home. And then my father's father took over that business, who was German, and he too ran the funeral home. And the local funeral home, our family's funeral home, dealt with all the local Italians. I went to school with Italians. My first true love was a full Sicilian girl, Italian. I quit school in the 8th grade, as I discussed in my other shows. By 23, I owned my own construction company, residential construction company at 18. And to get the license, I even lied. I was really 17, but you had to be licensed, you had to be 18, and I lied on the application. I was a few months away, and I needed to be licensed to do the work. And I'm straight on this show. I'm going to tell you how it is. My mistakes, my successes, and everything I learned. And that's the point of this show. By 23, I was a self-made millionaire. And being a millionaire at 23 years old and being as successful as I was, and I was successful more so in Nassau County, but in Suffolk County in the Hamptons later on. The Hamptons is a very high-end luxury beach area built up of several communities: Hampton Bays, Southampton, West Hampton, Quogue, Montauk. You can go into like Bridgehampton. They're all there. And they go out in Suffolk County until you hit Montauk, which is the farthest point on Long Island. So now, here I am, this 17-year-old kid opening his own construction company. Through word of mouth, I got a job for an individual in Garden City, which is also in Nassau County. Also a very big Italian area, very wealthy area, Rockville Center, Garden City area. I'm going to tell you his name as he was called, Stumpy. He had only one leg. And before I get into this story about Stumpy, I have to do a little history on the mob. There are 5 families in New York, and the family that I'm going to be discussing and the family that I was with was the Bonanno family. And people watch a lot of gangster movies, and some of the better ones, Goodfellas, know the story well. True story. Exaggerated some in the movies, but still almost true to the point. Johnny Brasco, another almost true to the actual point. You have to understand, and for those who don't understand the history of the mob, in New York, back in the day, the Irish used to run New York. The Irish mob was the biggest. The Italians didn't even exist as far as mob gangsters, so to speak. And what was happening is the Irish were we'll use the word, extorting, shaking down local businesses, people, etc., for money. Or they would come in and trash their business, etc., etc. Well, the Italians started to come over from Italy, and they saw this, and they saw an opportunity. And the opportunity was, they went to the store owners: if you don't want to be shook down anymore, you don't want to be harassed by the Irish, we'll protect you. And little by little, it grew. And different families came over, and some of the biggest, the 5. As time went on, the Italian mob grew. And the mob was based on respect. Pure respect. Now you have the committee, so to speak, of the 5 families. You have the boss, you have the underboss, you have the capos, and then the lieutenants. My story surrounds that of a couple of captains, and then one in particular, who I was under. And when I say that I was under, I have to, and I'm going to get into that, I was under a capo by the name of Tommy D. He's deceased now. But Tommy D was a ruthless man. Ruthless. And you look at me and you say, well, how did I? No, I didn't set out to be in a part of organized crime. And that's the part of the story I'm going to get into. As well as what I learned from being around certain individuals. And the word, when you use the word around, means you're with them. He's with us. And also, as part of this, I'm going to explain that I wasn't carrying out orders, so to speak, to do. I'm not a violent person. You mess with my family and my dear friends, then I think like me, like anyone else. You harm my children, you'll probably see me in court under a temporary insanity plea for killing the person who harmed my children. Most likely. So here I am, 17. I get a call for this job. I go, I'm introduced, and at this time I had no dealings with them. I knew certain people, my family knew certain people. It was always a mutual respect, and that was that. And I was involved, as I said, with a full Sicilian girl. So I go, I meet this individual. I had no idea. I suspected at first he was in the mob. And then a little while after, I was told. This job was a major, major job for me. It was my first big job. And now at this time, here I am, even at 17. I had money from the jobs I was doing. I had cash. I had a decent vehicle, brand new vehicle. And for 17 in those days, that was a lot. And I bought it myself. So at that time, even I had a lot of alleged friends, and I was hated by. I can't even go into it. A couple kids I grew up with, they hated me. Jealous, 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 jealous. Completely always jealous. I got the girls. I had the money. I was always working. Da 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 da. I knew this. I knew this then. But you don't want to believe that stuff. And you're young and you're a kid, and you still okay. You want friends. You want to be liked by everybody. So I go. I meet this individual, Stumpy. I get this job. It's a big project. At that time, it was $100,000. It was a new kitchen, siding, and a new roof. And then it went into more and more and more. So I meet him, and they have a daughter. And I see him coming in every day in his black Cadillac. Or he was being, on the weekends, taken out by limo. And I said to him one day, I said, where you going? He goes, kid, I'm going to AC, to Atlantic City. I said, okay. He'd get in, he had his one leg, he'd go in there. He was in produce. And I'll leave it at that at Hunts Point Market in the city, in New York City. Hunts Point Market is where all the fish, produce, things like that come in on the docks, and then they're sold out wholesale to people in the city and whoever else comes down there. So here I am, I start doing this job, and I get word of who this man is, that he's a capo with the Bonanno family. So I'm like, okay, Scott, make sure you do this job right. I'm a 17-year-old kid, you know what I mean? So, but he would come home from work every day, and he wanted to talk to me, and he was talking to me. He'd always talk to me, and we got to become friends. And his project was coming out nice. He's like, man, you work hard. You're a hard worker. You're a hustler, kid. You work hard. I respect that. I respect that. You never come to me for money. He's always trying to throw me money. You need more money? You need more money? Okay. So, as the job goes on, he says to me one day, he goes, come on, you want to go to AC? Really? Atlantic City with you? He goes, I'm treating. Now, meanwhile, this guy's paying me, and it always comes on a Friday. Come with manila envelope, full of cash. Full of cash. Now, here I am, 17, and I turned 18, and I used to have this manila envelopes full of cash, and I'd go home and dump them on my dining room table, and I'd stack them all up. People were like, Scott, what are you doing? I can remember my grandparents. Because after I moved out and I left home, I was homeless in my car for a while. I ended up moving above my mother's parents' house in Westbury. I returned to Westbury, and that's where I was running my business out of, etc. And then I got my own place. But there I am, my grandmother and my grandfather. My grandfather's an ex-New York City cop. So here I am stacking his cash on a dining room table. He's like, you can't keep that money in this house. What are you doing? Where are you getting it from? I actually had to take them to the job site to show them what I was doing and how I was getting paid. And he saw I had workers working for me. They come to the house in the morning. I take them to the job, or I pick them up, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, they were like, oh, look at all that cash. And I'm not kidding. So now you're thinking, I mean, this is back early 80s. So, mid 80s, sorry. So I go to AC with this man, and he sort of takes me under his wing. And then I start going all over the place. This is when I first started smoking cigars, though. Never forget it. He was one of the first men to give me a cigar. He was always teaching me things, how to carry my money, how stay away from this, don't do that, da 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 da. And he was always talking to me about my friends. He goes, you're going places, he said. He said, watch everybody. What he said, what do you mean? He says, watch everybody. Everybody's not your friend. He goes, keep that circle small. Keep that circle small. He goes, because everybody's going to want to be your friend. The more successful you get, you're a good-looking guy, you're going to have people all over you. And they're going to try to take advantage of you. And you don't want to let that happen. So, as time goes on, I finish his job. Then I did work for his sons. Then I did more work. In the middle of this, and I got to tell you this part of the story, he comes to me one day. He goes, come on. He goes, let's go for a ride. We went into Little Italy. It's okay. We're in the back room of a men's social club. It was actually in the back of an Italian restaurant. I'm not going to mention the name. And he says, I got an offer for you. Okay, what's the offer? He says, I want you to marry my daughter. I was like, huh? Marry your daughter? Now, no disrespect to Stumpy, but his daughter was, not very attractive. Nice girl, but not attractive, not my type, not the above. It was bad enough. I was in love with a Sicilian girl whose mother drove me insane. The Italians and their mothers, no disrespect, but they're always in your business. What are you getting, my daughter? Where you going? What are you doing? Da da da, da da da, da da da, da da. Good, loving people, and that's part of the show I'm going to get into, the family and respect, which is missing today, I believe, from many, many families, and it's missing in our country. Respect for one another. So he comes. He says, he's sitting there across the table from me, he's got a cigar in his mouth. He goes, I'll give you $1 million over a 5-year period, cash, to marry my daughter. True story now. True story. He goes, you don't have to do nothing. He goes, just marry her. I'll take care of you. Take care of this now and then. And it's true story. And you can have whatever you want on the side. I won't care. I won't say a word. I just want my girl safe and protected, and you're a good kid. He goes, and I trust you. I respect you. I said, trust me. He goes, I trust you. He goes, everything I've told you and shown you over the past, this had been like 6-7 month period of time. He says, I know you. You're a good kid. He goes, I know you've been through a lot, I can tell. He said, but I respect you. You work hard. I had to think about it. I said, let me think about this. Now, I didn't want to disrespect the man and tell him, can't marry your daughter. Now, I'm 18 thinking, geez, $1 million? I'm thinking, oh, my God. Now, I'm also thinking in the back of my mind, and I'm a small guy, so I'm thinking in the back of my mind, maybe he wants to see how I'm going to respond to him. If I would jump all over, yeah, marry your daughter, blah, blah, blah. So I let time go on. Finally, one day he came home from work, pulled in the driveway, got out of his caddy, and he says, he looks at me, I'm up on the ladder, and I'm just finishing up the roof. And he looks at me, he goes, so, you decide. I said, I'll be down to talk to you. I come down the ladder. I go to talk to him. He says, so, he puts his hand on me. He's got one crutch on because he had one leg. He didn't have no prosthetic leg on there. So, he said, cigar mouth again. He says, so, did you decide? I said, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. All the money in the world, I just can't do it. He said, it wouldn't be fair to her, and it's not fair to me. I just can't do that. He shakes his head at me. Goes, I was right about you. He goes, you're a solid guy. You're a solid guy. He goes, now I'm going to help you. I said, what? He says, yeah, now I'm going to help you. Because I'm going to make sure you got more work than you know what to do with. And he goes, you do good work. Because you're a hard worker. You're here 7 days a week. Because I had to throw you out of my house. Because I had to throw you out of here on Sundays from working outside and disturbing the neighbors. And me. He goes, you work hard. And he goes, you don't overcharge me, nothing. And he goes, for that. And I had just finished after we had did tons, that went from the kitchen to a brand new bathroom suite and this, that, the whole job all of a sudden, and here I am again, and now I'm 18. And this project's been going on 8 months. And this is when I started to travel. I started to go to the Caribbean. I was in Jamaica. I was in St. John's. I was all over the place. And I was living. I was living large. I was in Chicago. And then my life changed. I met somebody in Jamaica and ended up getting rid of the Sicilian girl and going to Chicago. But then I come back because my business was always in New York. But anyway, so he hands me an envelope. I said, what's this? He goes, that's your final payment plus a major bonus. And now I want you to do some other work for me, for my family. I said, okay. I said, that's all you're asking me? He goes, that's all I'm asking you. I don't want nothing else from you. I said, okay. And so it began. And for the next couple of years, I started doing work for gangsters. And I was part of them. In that particular circle as a kid. I was part of them. And then it started to be that I got work out in the Hamptons. Now this is a whole new ball game. And as I started to grow, before I got out to the Hamptons, here I am with all this money, and here we go to the friends. I have more friends, alleged friends, than I know what to do with. And even the ones that grew up with me, they wanted one thing, the money. They wanted to ride my coattails for the money. I had the car, I had the money, living. I was living like a king. I'm going to tell you I was living like a king. I was working hard, but I was living like a king. I was traveling everywhere. Anytime I wanted to go to AC, limo, pow, it was there. Anything, and now I didn't have to get involved in any other part of the business with these people. Nothing. But I was under their wing. I was with them. This was the beginning. I was with them. So slowly I started to merge out of there. And now, before I get out of merging out of there, friends, these people were there. They wanted everything. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? My family, who the abuse I went through as a child, going to shock you when you see it on mine. And I've talked about some of it on my shows. The child abuse, from sexual, physical, mental abuse, was horrible, horrible, to the point where I actually told Stumpy one day, we were alone, we're having a cigar, we're talking, and he goes, tell me something, tell me what happened to you. So I told him a little bit of what happened to me. I kid you not, right in this video, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell the world. This man told me, he goes, you want me to kill that man? And you want me to kill those people? And he was dead serious. You want me to kill them? He goes, Maron, I'll kill them. I will kill them. I said no. And this, my father's outlook on this situation to his own blood was the same way. And my father was a cop. Years later, not at this point, but years later when he found out the truth. I said no. Even then I knew. It was always something I always knew. I'm not a violent person. I just am not a violent person. However, as I said, sometimes things have to be, or if somebody harmed my children, or my family, close family, I said, you'd find me in a courtroom, and I would do something. I cannot stand, I despise child abuse, whether it's physical, sexual, mental, any of it. Children are innocent. And that's the problem. A lot of parents don't even have respect for themselves and thus their children today. Respect is missing. You can't even discipline a child today without somebody right up your ass. And I don't believe in beating a child. No. I'm talking even any type of discipline, physical abuse. use a wooden spoon on them. Christ, they're running to go to school and this, the school's calling and that, and children's services and blah, 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 blah. The belt, the spoon, the things, everybody grew up on that. You don't have discipline as a child, you're going to have no respect. And I just fully believe that. Now, there's some parents who raise their children without any physical discipline at all, and their children turn out fine. God bless. I just believe with certain things that there should be that. And as I said, I do not believe in like beating a child. I don't want to get off topic. So I told him no. So now I started to pull away from him because I started to get busy in the Hamptons with other friends that were friends with him, friends of other five of the five families. Now, these people live in Nassau County or in the city, or in Brooklyn, the Bronx, mainly Brooklyn, Staten Island, and they want beach houses in the Hamptons. And then I started working with white-collar guys from Wall Street, and mainly a lot of them, the garment district, the Jewish clientele from the garment district. And there is a Jewish mafia as well. Don't let anybody kid you. Jews are more powerful than the Italians or any other gang mafia this country's ever seen. And my Jewish clientele grew through the roof. So now we're going to jump forward. I'm going to jump forward because, and real quickly, back to the friends. The friends that I grew up with were not real friends. Jealous. Haters. Sad to say, but it was true. Sad to say. And one of them was close, dear friend of me. I thought was a dear friend of me. He wasn't a dear friend. And you learn. You learn. And you have to look at your friends and see who are your real friends. And you know who is real and who isn't. But be very careful who your friends are. Because they will stab you in the back if they're not your friends. And even the friends, if they're corny, a lot of them will stab you in the back. And this is what I'm going to get into. So now, in the middle of this, as I said, I end up out in the Hamptons. And this is a whole new avenue for me. My family had a beach home in the Hamptons, in Hampton Bays, the Grove. Some of the best parts of my childhood was spent there on the Peconic Bay. I get in offices in West Hampton Beach. I'm building all over the place, all over West Hampton. Here I am, 23 years old. I show up on the cover of the Business Journal as the hottest younger builder in the Hamptons. I'm in House Magazine, this, that. And I'm good. I'm a good builder. Just comes to me natural. I'm very, very good. But now at the same time, because I'm young, I have a lot of people coming at me. A lot of people trying to take advantage of me, even clients trying to take, trying to see if they can get in, get out, maybe not pay as much, not do this, take advantage. I'm not going to pay you because of this. But more importantly, I have more problems with subcontractors taking money, not showing up. I got problems on job sites. People are jealous. Other builders that were out there for 20, 30 years, here is this young kid coming out and taking millions of dollars from their plate. People don't like that, especially in New York. So I broke into this market in the Hamptons. People have tried, and I broke in my 20s. And once I was in, that was it. But there got to be a point where I needed some help because, as I said, things were getting out of hand. Things were getting out of control. Subcontractors were getting out of control, trying to take advantage. And I had my own crews. I had a dozen of my own guys full-time. We did mostly all the, I subbed out X, Y, and Z, from the foundations to pilings to the framing, and then my guys would oversee as well as we would do all the finishing work and other things on the projects. I'm very fanatic about finished work, and any of the major remodels and restorations we did ourselves, no subs, unless it was just for the foundation or excavation, things like that. And a lot of those, my Italian friends wanted me at this point. Wanted me at this point to use their companies. So how should I say this? Let me go back here. So I'm in this situation. So I make a couple phone calls, and I need some help because I need to put these subcontractors in their place because they're trying to take advantage. And other builders are starting to take advantage as well, damaging, multi-million-dollar projects, breaking windows, this and that. Window glass, a lot of money. And I'm like, this is not happening, not happening. Materials would disappear, all kinds of stuff was happening. It was all out of jealousy. No ifs, ands, or buts. They were trying to sabotage and do anything they could to slow down my progress of taking their business because I was taking their business. I was successful, as I've talked about in many other shows. But on the personal level, that's not, and again, that's not what this show is about. But I was learning as I was going. I was learning, and I was learning the hard way. So finally, I made a decision. I said, I got these friends. I need to make a phone call. I made a phone call. I reached out, is what it's called. And I ended up with Tommy D. Very big capo in the Bonanno family. Dangerous man. Feared man. We met at a restaurant that he controlled. And I told him my situation. He said, you know what? And he had known my past with Stumpy and the respect that I had gained. He said, you know what? You're going to come around me. From this moment on, put his finger down on the table. From this moment on, you're coming around me. Anybody asks, I'm your godfather. And that's it. I'm an uncle. I'm a godfather. Whatever you want to call me. He goes, we'll solve your problem fast. And I said, what do you want from me? He goes, nothing. Right now I want nothing from you. I want to help you. He goes, as I told you, you earned your respect with another gentleman. And it was Stumpy and his family. So now Tommy starts showing up in the Hamptons. And now I got guys around me, security around me. And these guys were with me all the time. Whenever I go to job sites here, there, subcontractors come to the office screaming this, that, because how I was successful, part of me being successful was I would not take subcontractors. You give them a deposit, and you give them a deposit, and they do half the job. Then you give them another payment, and then you pay them when they're done. Period. And if you don't do that, they'll take advantage of you because if you pay them up front or they do this, they got many jobs. Subcontractors got a ton of jobs going on. They go from one job to the next job, take to their time. They don't finish. They don't come back. They don't do this. So the only way you can ensure them come back is with money. Period. So, and what would happen is you give these guys money, they never show back up. They're like, screw the young guy. He's got, he's driving a brand new BMW. He's got a Range Rover. He's got a $1 million office. Blah, 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 blah. We'll take advantage of him. No. So, and as I said in other videos, you can be a wolf or you can be a sheep. Are you going to be taken advantage of or you're not? Who are your friends? Who are not your friends? Now, a lot of these subs, and now I'm going to get to that point. A lot of these subs, as well as clients, were alleged friends. They go out, they break bread at my house or at restaurants or here or there. Anything you need, da-da-da-da. They were there for the ride. They were there for the ride. Because when you really need, can you do me a favor? Can you get over that job and get it done? Because I got a deadline, I got to meet it. Oh, well, but 2 weeks ago, he's in my office. I really need money for this. My family's hurting, da-da-da-da-da. This other guy didn't pay me. I know you, Scott. I'd pay him, and then when I needed him, not there. Same thing with my intimate friends. And at this time, my family started to come back in the picture, my father's family, because they saw how successful I was. They wanted to ride coattails too. Same people who, when I was a kid, told me I'd be nothing. I had more money than all of them put together. And I became something, which they told me I could never become. And it wasn't with the help of the mob. It was me. Determination. As I've discussed in other shows. But one thing about me is that I always had a mutual respect for people. And the Italians reiterated that to me every day. Respect. It's like respect for your elders. When you're around your mother, you don't curse. You don't, and in Italians, you don't take the Lord's name in vain. These things, you just have respect. You have respect. What you do in someone's home, how you conduct themselves at their table, anything, how you conduct yourself with whatever you do and how you treat people. It's called mutual, it's respect, and they should respect you back. Today, there is no more respect. Very few respect anything. Why? Because they don't respect themselves. Why? Because they don't even know who they are. Kids, a lot of them today, no respect. It's how it is in the United States. There's no respect. We don't even have respect for our government. How can you? How can you? It's a mess. So Tommy is now, I'm with Tommy. And I said, he's a capo. And I'm around him. Okay? So how that is you got to earn. In other words, I'm making money. He saw how much money I was making. It was clear. He saw how much money I was making. And I was making millions. Millions. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, hand over fist, no joke. Piles. Some people paid in cash. A lot of big clients from Manhattan. Cash. 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 Or wire transfers. Even back then, they started doing wire transfers from bank cashier's checks. This thing, that thing. It didn't matter. The cash was unbelievable. I had $1 million fleet of cars. $1 million house. Basically. A boat. Several boats. Traveling everywhere. I had what everybody would think I had it all. But now, here I am around Tommy D. And now I'm in. I'm in. Now before, but now I'm in. I'm in. And they say once you're in, you're never out. So now, some things happen, some subcontractors come in, things start to happen, and the word gets around that out in the Hamptons that I'm around, that I'm mobbed, that I'm mobbed up. And it came from competition, came from everywhere. They were trying to do anything they can to just slow me down. I was a bullet train moving. I mean, we had 6, 7 jobs going at the same time, but that's it. The company was grossing $12, $13 million a year with only a few jobs going. And I was learning. I was falling, learning, but successful. Kept going. But my friends were small. I couldn't trust anybody. I still can't trust many people to this day. I've gotten better though. Much better with trust. But I know who to trust and not to trust now. And it's going to be because of what I'm going to keep telling you here. So now I would be with Tommy all the time. Tommy was everywhere with me. Here I am right with him. And then I started to go places with him. You know, we had to go in the city. We had to go to restaurants he owned or clubs he was around. Oh, you name it. From in Huntington on Long Island, very big area. Smithtown. We're always in Little Italy. Nassau County and Hempstead. Here, there, doesn't matter. And I started to be around this life. And I fell into this life. I'm going to be very honest with you. I fell into this life. After a little while, there wasn't a restaurant I couldn't go into that. When I opened the door, they parted the sea. It was like the Red Sea. Mr. Binsack, what table do you want? This, that. Here's your table. Here's this. What do you want us to make you on the menu? What do you want you to do here? What do you want you to do? You name it. I had it. It was for the taking. I watched that movie Goodfellas. And I look at Henry Hill's life. And the best way for me to explain this to you, because I'm telling you this in a short form on this show. I was like Henry Hill in many, many ways. Many ways. Scratch the drug dealing, though. Not into drug dealing. But my life was like Henry Hill's. However, I didn't run around and do things for these guys. I had a respect from them. They respected me at a young age. And it's rare because you see, the mob is about one thing: earning. In other words, you don't earn, you're no good to them. You got to earn. You disrespect them. The harsh reality is things happen. So now Tommy is showing me this incredible life, doing this, that, and now he comes to me. I want you to use my companies. And he had companies that had to do with cabinets and countertops, big deals with Home Depot and manufacturing for them. I want you to use our garbage company. I want you to use this sheetrock guy. And then Sammy Gravano, which is from another family who I got involved with, who, as everybody knows, Sammy the Bull. He ratted on John Gotti, on Johnny G, as he was called. And I was young, and you at this time you believe these guys. You believe what they tell you, and you believe, we'll look out for you, we want you, this, that, and the other thing, and they would. However, there was always a motive. There was always a motive: money. There's always a motive: money. And see, they suck you in. See, and once they suck you in, they want to suck your business dry. And that's their MO. Not all. And not like Stumpy. But Tommy, he got greedy. He actually went across the bounds of what the respect is what's called for in the family at times. So now, but I thought these people, at one point, I thought these people were my friends, that there was nothing they could, that they wouldn't do for me. Well, as time went on, I got in deeper and deeper. And they wanted more money and more part of my business. And I was fighting them the whole way. I was fighting them. I was fighting them. In other words, I'm not one you tell, I don't like taking orders. I'm not one to be giving orders. I don't like that. And friction started. And I started to refuse. You know what? Listen. I'm with you, I'm around you, but I'm not. I'm going to give you X amount. That's it. I'm going to use this garbage company who I've used for years, and I'm not using that garbage company, and that's that. They were like, you got balls, kid. I'm sorry for the French, but that's the way it was said. You got balls. He says to me, all right. Well, then you're going to have to do this, this, and this. In other words, pay me more money, do this, that. Now, in the interim, this is all going on. I got my employees, I got friends, I got alleged family and this and that. They're all over me, too. You know what I mean? They're all over me. Money, this, money, 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 money. They want this, they want to go here, they want to go there. Everybody's riding the coattails. You think they're your friends, like your posse, right? No. Know who your friends are. These people are along for the ride, and the moment something happens, or the moment you really need them, I should say, for something personal, or you need their help, they're not there. They're not there. Or if something tragic goes wrong, down, whatever, see how many people are still left standing there. It's sad, but true. Very true. And you show them respect. I always showed my employees respect, but I didn't put up with shit. Never put up with other people's. Don't do it. Don't put up with it. That's not what life is about. You know, that's why you need to keep your circle small. You don't need 1,000 friends. You don't need 100 friends. You don't have to please anybody but yourself. And I preach it on this show. So as I go on now, I start to see things, you know? I'm around these guys. I'm hanging with them. One time Tommy goes, come on, we're going to go for a ride. I said, okay. I said, well, actually, I said, I can't go right now. No, you're going for the ride. Why you want to go? See, they want to show you. They want to take you around because the mob is built on fear. Okay? It's built on fear. If you fear them, then you'll pay them. But one thing that I learned, so much so, is the respect that these people have for their family and their children. Very serious respect. Very, very serious respect. And they always want to make sure that their family is taken care of. And you know, one family member does something for the other family member about that very close. Always having Sunday dinners. Always, it was a wonderful thing. And I got sucked into that because as a child, I had some great Sunday dinners at my mom's house, my mom's parents' house. However, that wasn't routine. My father's family was horrible. And even then, it became kind of crazy when my parents got divorced and my grandmother's. All that was missing for me. So when I got given that by the Italians, it was like family to me. It was like family to me. But again, you always got to be watching your back. You always got to watch your back. And today, especially, you got to watch your back. It's sad. It's sad. But today's world, and I go back to the wolf and the sheep, you got to watch your back. You have to recognize the signs of who's your friend and who's not your friend. And you also have to go around and have respect for people. It's missing. But most of all, you got to respect yourself. You have to respect yourself. And that's one thing I had to learn the hard way with the mob. I had to, before, I learned respect for family, this, that, others. But I needed to learn respect for myself. So, again, back to the story. Come on, you're coming for a ride. We'll go for a ride. Going down in the city. Met somebody else. End up at this building. Very large apartment building. Condos going in at the same time. They convert a lot of apartment buildings into condo complexes. So, we go up, I don't know, 16 floors. Knock on the door, go in. Guy answers the door. Right away, Tommy, the two guys we're with, go in the door. He's got a cigar. No ifs, ands, or buts. Takes the guy, shoves him on the couch. You got my money. There's the words. You got my money? Why you playing? Why don't? Where's my money? This is going on X amount of months. Da da da. X amount of points. Da 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 da. You got my money. I could see the guys. I could see the fear in the guy's face because it was no joke. And it was a terrace out there with sliding glass doors. I see this clear as day right in my mind right now as I'm going to tell you the rest of this story. The guy kept going, nah, I don't have the money. Tommy, I don't have the money. I don't have the money. Don't have the money. That was it. The two guys pick him up out to the terrace. Fell first into the glass door. Broke his nose right there on the glass door. Blood everywhere. Didn't shatter the door. Slid the door open. There he goes. Where's the money? I know the money's in this house. This is what's going on. I know the money's in the house. And I'm standing there. I'm watching this. You understand? And this is deliberately being shown to me. And at this time, I'm 22. 22? 22. 23. 23 I was. Soon to be 24. The guy's scared to death. Scared to death. He urinated his pants. Right there on the porch. On the balcony. Next thing I know, he won't. Still, I don't have it. I don't have it. Tommy says, there's a safe in this house. I know there's a safe up here. Where's the money? Give me the money. You owe the Vic. Give me the money. And I want it all. And if I find out you're lying to me and I find the money in this house, I'm going to kill you. True story. True story now. Next thing I know, the guy is hanging over the balcony by his, I kid you not, by his ankles. Same shit you see in the movies. True story. True story. Hanging him over there, screaming. Screaming. There it is. They don't care. Nobody around. Hang his head over. Looks at me, I kid you not. Hey kid, you think he's going to pay the money? Yeah, I think he's going to pay the money. Pull him back up. They pull him back up. The guy's sheet white. Crying, flipping, freaking, screaming, everything, you name it, going on. 5 minutes later, in the bedroom, in the safe, cash out. Here you go. Now, here comes the moral. The guy pays the money. After he hands the money over, because the guy had no respect and he lied. Now, no disrespect here. Somebody is supplying something that is in need. You understand? So, the guy lied and lied, didn't want to pay back the money, yet he had the money. But yet when he needed the money, they were there to lend it. Nobody's going to lend money for free. Well, we all lend money to people knowing we're not going to get it back, so it means the same thing. But you're not going to lend strangers, or basically in the business, you're not going to lend money for free. You're going to put points, as they call it, or the VIG, i.e. interest. But because the guy lied and thus had disrespect, after he paid the money, and that he's standing there and the guy's still all in shambles, the word was given. They beat this guy to a pulp. Beat this guy to a pulp, and I can remember standing there watching. My hand over my eyes. And he looks at me and he goes, "Kid, what are you doing?" I was always called kid. Kid, 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 kid. And then when I was referred to by somebody else, by them, I was called the builder. That was my name. I was the builder. I was AKA the builder. He goes, "Watch this. Tommy, you got to watch this. You watch this. You need to watch this." I'm like, "I don't want to watch this." "Watch it." Now, see, I was always getting mouthy. "I don't want to watch this." "Watch it." "Okay, watch it." So I watched it. Beat him to a pulp. Beat it once again. So now I'm a kid and I see this. It's the fear being instilled to me. So in other words, now this guy knows that I'm making millions. He knows I am. And I've been paying him along the way for helping me out, because we solved the problem with the subcontractors and the vandalism on job sites and things like that. And even I was always getting paid now. It was not an issue in his jobs. Subs were doing the jobs. They were getting done. And a couple of subs that didn't knew that I was around people, and that was that. They just didn't work for me. I never harmed anybody. I never once harmed anybody. They threatened a few, but they never harmed them. I would never allow that. Never, ever allow that. It's not my style. I don't believe in violence. Again, I'll go back to the thing. So now, I watch this scenario go on. Beat this guy to a pulp, and then they leave. And its bottom line is this. You run to the cops, you go to anybody, believe me, you're a dead man. It's the truth. You're a dead man. At that time. You got to remember, at this time, all the stuff's still going on. The RICO Act was just coming out there a few X amount of years later. They couldn't convict John Gotti years later as that went on, years later after that. You know, so there was still the presence of without the FBI being able to control the mob, because the government liked the mob. You have to understand. You know, the Italian mob helped us with World War II, Mussolini and this. And I forgot to tell you, Stumpy was Mussolini's grandson, the man that I told you in the first story. And I was friends with that man till the day he died. And I had to actually reach out to him after the situation with Tommy got crazy for a little while. We ended up, it was horrible. We were at war. And because I wouldn't give in to Tommy no more. So throughout all this, time is going on with me, and I'm getting even more successful. But at the same time, I'm getting in deeper with these guys. At the same time, my marriage is falling apart, which my marriage was no good from the beginning anyway, as I've discussed in other shows. Got married too young, got married for the wrong reason, found out my son wasn't my son. I got lied to. However, water under the bridge now. Lessons learned. In all this, I was so successful in my business, but not with myself, meaning inside of myself. The true traumas and the true pain as a child were always there. It's taken me, I'm going to be 45 this year, but it's taken me, at the time, if I was secure with myself and my childhood and those issues, I would have never reached to these guys. I wouldn't have had to. I wouldn't have had to. And if I had real friends and true family, I wouldn't have had to. I would have other people to reach to. And there were other ways to deal with the subcontractors and things like that. There are other ways. So, and my friends were all there. My alleged friends. No. Years later, when I abandoned my business, and that's basically what I did years later. And I'm going to get into some of that because it involves the mob. But years later, I abandoned my business, sold half, tanked the other half of it. Incredible company for no reason. Well, the reason was within me. I went on a lam, Central America, you name it, Caribbean, but ended up in Costa Rica. Got a house down there, and I had to. I had no choice. And being on the lam means on the run, not from the law, on the run from within the mob, because there's a war between families. So, excuse me, I had to fix that. And there goes my lighting. Sorry about that. There goes my lighting. Anyway. Some of this is difficult for me because I lost so much that I worked so hard for. So I apologize. But I shouldn't say it's not difficult for me because I accept it and I've learned, and after falling on my face and getting up numerous times since then, I've become the man that I am today, and that's why I'm talking to you. So that others can learn from my experiences. So as time went on, things with Tommy and I and with the family got even worse. Tommy wanted more. He wanted me to give up more. He wanted me to do more, give him more money. I'll do this for you. You do that for me. Blah, 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 blah. So here I was believing for a time period that this man was my true friend. And in the end, believe it or not, it turned out he was, so to speak. It's another whole twofold to this story. I saw many things, many things. And learning about respect and learning about who your enemies are is the key to all this. Your enemies are there. Your enemies in business could be the guy sitting right next to you at another desk at your job. Could be, it's not just a competition across the street. They're right in your own house. meaning your own establishment. Somebody wanted to take your job, somebody higher up. If you're a CEO, somebody gunning for your job. You're a manager. You can go on and on and on. Vice president, president, blah, blah, blah. Keep your enemies close. Don't let them know that you know that they're an enemy. Never show your cards until the time is right. It's like today. You look over here and look over here. In other words, you see what's going on over here with the media feed you, but really what's going on is over here. And everybody walks around like their heads in the sand going, okay, yep, that's the way it is. Well, what's really going on is over here. It's the same thing in your life with business. It's the same thing with anything. Not everybody deserves to know everything about you. Remember that. Just because they ask or they demand or they want to know doesn't mean they deserve to know. And it doesn't make you any different of a person for not telling them. It makes you a better person because you don't need to tell everybody everything about your life and who you are. That's a respect for oneself. If people can't accept you for who you are, then they're not worth it to begin with. And that means with any luggage, any bad, any good, it doesn't matter. You have to be accepted for who you are. If they don't, they're not your friends. Now, if they allege that they're your friends and they talk behind your back, that's one of the first red flags. I can't stand hypocrites. I can't stand hypocrites. I hate it. Just be you. Don't say one thing to my face and then turn around and go say something else. And believe me, all these years that I've been dealing with this, I've seen it all, heard it all. Meaning, you learn something new every day and you can hear something new every day, but I've seen some of the best. Lie right to your face, right here, right this close to your face. Look at you and smile, and then they'll pull the trigger. Friends, real friends are hard to find today. Real friends. And I see so many people today when they get successful, they have all these posses running with them and all these things, and they think everybody's their friend. They're not their friends. They're there for one thing. They're there for the ride. And when the ride runs out, when the train comes to an end, or they get a better offer for another train that's faster, making more money, they're gone. Loyalty is very rare today. Very, very rare today. Even loyalty within one's family. Nowadays in the mob, organized crime, and when I talk about this, I want to make it clear. Gangsters are not these gangsters you see today in the street. I have no respect for any of those people. In gangs and shooting people and drug wars and this and that and that. No. No respect. That's not respect. They have no respect. When you put a gun in a 12-year-old's hand and tell him to go carry out an order and kill somebody, that's not. What is that? That's sick. That's madness. Or they're selling crack on the corner to freaking kids, or having kids sell crack on the corner to someone else. They think they're bad. They're driving in their cars and they have all this money. Yeah. They call themselves gangsters. They're not gangsters. They're not even close to a gangster. Not even close. So, here I go. And as time goes on, and there's so many other stories I could tell you. So many other stories. But I'm going to get to the point now because I'm going on X amount of time here with my show. We're already on an hour. Running with the mob. Growing up with them. As time went on, I learned mutual respect for people. I always had that was instilled to me by my mother's family, and like as far as manners and respect and morals and values. I guess that's why I couldn't look at the man having his head smashed in. And I couldn't look at many other men getting their heads smashed in or their knees broken with bats or you know, much other worse. Much other worse I've seen. But it came down to a point where they wanted to do the same to me. Not all of them, Tommy, because I refused to pay any more than what I was supposed to pay as far as my share. And I stood up to them, and I stood up to him. And it could have cost me my life. And I came close. It's a whole another story. It would go on for another hour. It almost cost me my life. Very, very close. And as I discussed in another show about the auto accident I was in, many people believe it wasn't, and I heard that it wasn't. And the feds showed up there, and that's a whole other part of this, where I was told my life was in danger, and the feds wanted me to testify against Tommy D, because they couldn't find anybody to testify against Tommy D. Eastern District, New York, Manhattan, Organized Crime Division. Know them well. It's been in the building many times, being brought in by black, tinted out Chevy Suburbans at the time. Never ratted. Never ratted. It cost me later on, though. Not with the mob. It cost me in life. And that was that. So, it's difficult. It's difficult for me. I never ratted. So, and it cost me later on. None of them were my friends. None of them. Not, and I don't mean the Italians. None of the people who claimed to be my friends were my friends. They all abandoned me when things got tough. Things got hard. They abandoned me. And I ended up on a lam, Central America. And then my children with me. I was safe. It was okay. I came back. I dealt with it, hit it head on. And I'm going to get to the point here. I'll never forget the last time I saw Tommy D. It was at the Rockaway Diner in Rockaway, in New York. And I called the meeting with him because I had been missing for a while. And he thought I was with the FBI and witness protection. We won't even go into that right now. But all I will say is I never testified. And I'm not, as I said, I'm not a rat. Now, I'll iterate on that a little bit. If I saw somebody doing something that was harmful, seriously harmful to children or to others or whatever, I'd definitely be the first one there to testify. Men with men, and men who get themselves in their own situations, then what's to testify about? We all make decisions. How do you blame the mob when you went to the mob first to borrow money? Think about it. That man made a choice. Any man, meaning in general. You want to go borrow money, you want to place bets with bookies, you know, you need money for your business, you want protection, you want this, you want that. You made the choice, you asked for it. As we all make our own decisions. You asked for it. So if you ask for it, you know what you're getting yourself into. It's clear. Don't expect not to pay them. Don't expect. It's with anyone in general. It's with a bank. You borrow money from a bank for your house, you should pay for it. Now, obviously, if you find into financial straits, you can't. Okay, different story. But when you personally go to someone else personally and ask them for money and guarantee you're going to pay them, and you have the money and you don't pay them, then you cross the line. I believe so. And I believe that goes right to your morals and your values. Who you trust should be very small, period. Especially in business and especially in your personal life. Don't trust everybody. And I know people watching this, don't trust your family either. Not everybody can be trusted, and family is the worst. Family is the worst, I believe. It's like never, there's a rule I have. Never do business with family members. Never hire them to work for you. Don't do jobs for them. Don't get involved with them. Don't do, nah. Nope. Now, if you're a parent and you want to lend your kid money or something, that's a different story. That's not what I'm talking about. Because when something goes wrong, then the family's right there and it's a nightmare. Don't do it. Just don't do it. You're better off with your relationship with your family keeping business separate. If they want a job, help them get a job somewhere else, but don't hire them. Don't go into business with them. Don't go partners with them. Don't do anything because it 99% of the time turns into a nightmare. So the last time I met Tommy was at the Rockaway Diner, as I said. I'll never forget that. I got out of my vehicle. And on the way there, I got a phone call. And the phone call's like, Scott, you do this, he's going to kill you. I'm like, no, he's not. I had to go to him. I had to tell him the truth. I had to come to him and say, listen, this is what's going on. This is this. Now, this was after my auto accident in 1999. And that's how long I was running with Tommy and that family. I met him and I said, you know, this is what happened. X, Y, and Z came, approached me, said the accident wasn't this, that the car wasn't an accident, blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. That my life was in danger, da, da, da. I apologize for yawning on the show. It's been it's 11:16 at night here on a Saturday night. I've been going all day, and people who know me or who watch me, I am dealing with a bone disease that I have. It's pretty acute too, and I'm getting better. But so I meet him, and right away, you know, why are you wired? You wired? No, I remember he dropped his shorts right there in the parking lot. Made me drop my shorts. It was summertime. It was July, and it was in 1999. So it was January, February, March, April, May. 5 months after my auto accident, because I was missing. Oh my goodness, excuse me. I was missing for 5 months. From the time I had my auto accident, I was in Antigua after my auto accident on my own fruition. I didn't even know I was going there. I ended up on a plane. I was out of my mind from the auto accident, still swollen brain. I ended up getting on a plane going to Antigua, not even knowing where I was till I got there. My friends there were like, what are you doing here? I still had stitches in my face, trach, everything. I actually drove myself to the airport and but sent the nurse home that was taking care of me. That's a whole other story. So I was in Antigua, and then I'm missing for months. Nobody could find me. Nobody could find me. And it wasn't in my own doing. So I meet him against the wishes of federal agents. And I go meet him. And I tell him the story. I tell him this is what I was told. This is what they wanted me to do. This is this. This is that. And you want to know why? Not just so much I'm not a rat, but I got lied to. I got lied to by the feds. They wanted this man bad. And they don't care. When it comes to organized crime, they don't care. They will lie, cheat, steal. I don't care. They're licensed to do it, and they will do it, and they will tell you so. They don't care. They want their man. And they will do anything and say anything to get that person and or to make a conviction. And there was things they wanted me to say and do that I would refuse to do. And some I didn't even know. But they wanted me to tell them. They just wanted to hear it. And I was proud I didn't do it. I'm still proud that I never did it. I suffered for it. Not from the mob, but I suffered in the long run for it, which I'll get into soon. And as I said in this show tonight, I'm only telling you little bits and pieces. You'll get to hear the whole story. The moral of this show is about keeping your circle small, and there's a reason for it, as well as keep your enemies close. So I meet with him, ask him why, we drop our shorts, and we start to walk around the Rockaway Diner. There's a neighborhood there. We start walking around, talking. I'm telling him the whole story. And it is a point in time. Now, I haven't seen this man in months at this time. Been looking for me, blah, 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 blah. I could have been killed that day, taken in the car and whatever, and vanished. Gone. Could have been killed on that walk. But I knew, out of respect for what me coming to them and telling them and being straight with them about what I was told, as well as straight as what I was feeling about them trying to overpower me to get more of my business than I was willing to give, I would get the pass, the free pass and the respect. And that's what happened. I'm going to use the word again, and I excuse my French. I had the balls to go meet them. And I've seen what they can do and what normally would have been done in another situation. I would have been taken for a ride. And you know, a lot of people always talk that they want to be a gangster. Everybody wants to be a gangster until it's time to do gangster shit. Everybody's your friend until it's time to stand up for you. Remember what I'm telling you. And if you have friends that have stabbed you in the back before, talked behind your back, and done things like that to you, they're not your friends. Understand this. And if you know that they're doing it and you haven't confronted them yet, that's an enemy. You know that they're an enemy. Let them string themselves out. You give somebody a rope big long enough, they'll hang themselves eventually. Eventually. So I meet him, we have this talk. And in the end, we shook hands. We made an agreement. And the agreement is stuck till this day. Jeez. 99, 2000. 14 years later. 14 years. He's dead now. And the FBI finally, eventually did get him through somebody else's testimony. Not mine. So the FBI had a rat inside that family. I knew who the rat was. And it had come to my attention during the time with the feds. And I knew who the rat was. And it was a family member. And this is my point. When you start selling out your own family to save yourself because you got yourself in trouble, what does that say about you? And see, the government will use that, as with anybody in business and even in your personal life, and enemies will use that against you. So here's the deal. I want you to think about this. You're in a family, even if you're not in the mob, you're in a family. Okay, you got a good family, you got this. Now, you know one of your family members is doing something, we'll say illegal. Okay? You know that they're doing it illegal. It's not hurting anybody you know, whatever. I'm using this as a hypothetical. Not that they're dealing drugs, whatever. Even if they are dealing drugs, whatever. I'm using this hypothetical. So you're in this family, you know that your other side is doing something. And this person gets themselves in trouble because they're doing their own wrong. Okay? They get caught. Let's just say they're selling drugs and they get caught and busted for that. So now they get busted, and to get themselves out of trouble, they rat on somebody in their family. They go, oh, well, I can help you get this guy if he's my brother, he's my cousin, he's my uncle, he's this and that. I'll tell you what you need to know. You get rid of my charges for me, or make them reduce them so that there's not a problem. Come on. That man made his own decisions to break the law himself, and now to get himself out of trouble, he's going to go snitch on his own blood. What's wrong with that picture? It's his fault he got in trouble himself. It's his fault, and that's usually how it happens. If you guys ever watch The Sopranos, which a lot of people watch Sopranos, it's a very good depiction of the mob. That's New Jersey mob, but close enough. You know, within the family, they get themselves in trouble, then they turn. It's like your friends. Everybody's supposed to be your friend until it's time to stand up for you. So many people claim to be my friends, and I counted on a lot of people in my life that I thought were friends. How many came down to it? Anytime with anything. When it came down to it and you needed them, they were never there. Now I have some select friends that I keep close, and they're select and I can count them on my hands. I'd rather die with one true dear friend or 10 on my hands or whatever within my fingers than 100 or 1,000 acquaintances that people allege phony friends that call they want to be friends. You don't need lots of people. You need quality of people. Same thing in your own life. You need quality in your life. And your enemies, they're everywhere. You're in business watching this. You're successful. You got tons of enemies. Don't let them know that you know that they're your enemies. Be smart. Never let them know. I got tons of enemies. You think I let you know, and I know my enemy's going to be watching this. You understand? I know you're there. Do I care? No. Do I know you're there? Yes. Will I always know you're there? Yes. Will I always keep you close? Yes. And you'll never know that I know that you're my enemy. Until the time, if necessary, it comes to light. Because when your enemies strike at you, you'll know. And you already know because you keep them close and you know how to handle it. Especially in business. Be very careful. Be careful who you trust because it's vicious. Money changes people. Remember what I'm telling you. Money changes people. Success changes people. Power changes people. When in reality, life's very simple. If we could all learn how to have respect for one another, thus and love one another, in a real sense, which is respect. But it's respect's not even taught today. Children aren't even raised with respect today. They look at their parents, they follow their parents, and the parents don't have respect. They have no love for themselves. They're a mess. Society's a mess. And the good families that do have respect got to watch over them like hawks so that they maintain that in today's society. It's horrible. It's horrible. Have respect for one another. Have respect for one another. And don't worry about having 1,000 friends, 100 friends, 25 friends. I don't care. Worry about having quality, true friends. And they're hard to find. The ones that won't sell you out. And I don't mean to the law. I mean that'll sell you out to someone else. It's like girls. You got to love girls. They have their pack of friends. And then you always have the friends that are jealous. Yet the girl thinks, oh, this person said it. She talked about me. She said this. She said that. She called me this. She called me that. She did this. It happens with guys too, but in a different sense. Yet they're still friends with them. Why? Because they love the drama. They got to feed off. Everybody's got to feed off drama today instead of being simple. If the person talks about you behind your back, they're not your friend. They're not your friend. If people won't stand up for you and stick their neck out for you when you need them, they're not your friend. And I don't mean with the law. I mean in general. That's one thing I'll always respect about the Italians. Always. About how much respect that they have for their children and for their family. However, as I just said, so many of them have sold each other out. There is not much more respect when it comes to that much these days. Because when it comes down to it, they'll save their own soul. Not every one of them, but a lot of them now. This goes with anybody. Will save their own soul. Will try to save their own soul by ratting on somebody else and their own family. Now, it's for their kid or something, that's a whole different story. But still today, there's not much respect in the world. And that's a serious problem. People need to get back to respecting one another and standing up for themselves. You must keep your circles small and keep your enemies close. And be smart about it. Be smart about it. You find out that someone's your enemy, don't go run into them. Don't go confront them. Don't go defend yourself. That's what they want. Don't do it. Don't do it. I will share much more on this subject as we go along, as far as including in my life. And I'm soon to be telling my life story. Just remember, not everybody is your friend. And you don't need 1,000 friends. Please remember that. I hate to see people who go, I have these best friends or this, or that. I've seen so many times, and I'm one that lived it. I lived it. I lived it. And these people, some of them still contact me today. Oh, how you doing? Da, 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 when they need something. Phonies. People are phony. Watch yourself in business. Watch yourself at work. You don't think the next person wants a raise? You don't think the next person wants to move up the ladder? You think they're your friend? Now, don't get me wrong. You can meet some nice people, your mutual co-workers, things. There's very good people out there too. That's not what I'm saying. You just have to be cautious, because I want you to understand, everybody wants to move up the ladder. And if they have to, a lot of them will step on you on the way up. And you'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe she did that, or she said that, or he did that to me. I was just sitting down. We just had drinks the other day, or da da da. They'll do it. They will do it. Be smart. Don't get so caught up in yourself that you don't see what's going on around you. And that's the key to this. And I've been there. I got caught up. Seriously caught up. Because everybody wants to be liked. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants friends. Everybody wants the center, you know? But you have to be smart about it. And it all comes down to it, and I'm going to push it again. It all comes down to you looking in the mirror and what do you see? Take a good look in the mirror and see what you see. Do you like yourself? Do you like where you're going? Do you like your friends? Alleged friends, your real friends? Do you like just your purpose? You got to love yourself. You want to love yourself. And that's not selfish. You want to love yourself. Take care of yourself, and then you can love others. Same thing with raising a child, or bringing a child in this world. You want to bring a child in this world, have respect for yourself and love yourself, and make sure it's the right time and the right place. And if, God forbid, you do get pregnant and you have to bring a child, or you're a man and you do, regardless, take care of the child respectfully, and thus respect yourself and show respect for the child and teach them respect. It's missing today in so many ways. But it all starts within us. It all starts within us. And the hardest thing anyone has to do, any of us have ever had to do, or even if you have yet to do it, is look in the mirror. Because we are all responsible. We are all responsible for everything that happens in our life. Unless, as I said, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. You're walking to a bank, someone's robbing a bank, they put a gun to your head. Of course, you're not responsible for that. But basically everything else you're responsible for. And what you emanate out is what you're going to attract. And don't fall fool that everybody's your friend. You don't need a lot of friends. You need true friends. Therefore, keep your circles small and keep your enemies close. Thank you. Good night. God bless.